in the King James Bible University. And today's teaching is titled No Private Interpretations. And this teaching is to give the understanding that no wisdom or no understanding of this book called the Bible, which is the remembrance of Israel, the book of remembrance of unto Israel. There's no private interpretations because this book is understood by precepts, and through precepts is the only way we get understanding. And if we use personal interpretations or private interpretations, then we are leaning onto our own understanding, and that's leading us out of the way of righteousness and leading us, giving us vain opinions and theology, traditions of men, and doctrines of devils. These are all things that you will conjure up in these private interpretations of Scripture. So let's get into it. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 8 through 14. Vanity of vanities, said the preacher, all is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed, and sought out and set in order many proverbs. Verse 10. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth, which we can only worship the Father in. That spirit and word of truth. The words of the wise are as goads and as nails, fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd, not by many different interpretations, but by one God, one shepherd, which is going to give us wisdom, those gifts to understand and hold on to that knowledge from above and not from below. And further by these, my son, my servant, be admonished of making many books. There is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Because men have made many books to try to get you to understand this one book. But there is no end to that, because they will never get the understanding without the precepts that is in the one book. So we don't need no other books to get this understanding, so we can get guidance. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Jehovah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. 14. For our guide shall bring every work into judgment, into teachings and doctrines, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 20 through 21. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the Scripture is of any private interpretation. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, the will of female and male, the dust of the ground, but holy men, separated men, that was vessels used for the edification of the saints, of Jehovah spake as they were moved by the separated body. Let's go to Revelations. (22 through 16), verse 16 through 19. I, salvation, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of the beloved, and the bright and morning star. 17. And the Spirit and the bride say, Come, and let him that heareth say, Come, and let him that is athirst come. And whosoever will, let him take the water of life freely. So this is that knowledge we should be getting. We should be consuming this book and understanding, being guided by precepts, by his commandments. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, which they do. They added spaceships. They added giants. What else they added? They added a man to be God. They added God to be black. They added God to be white. They lied on God's people, saying that they are in certain places, in certain areas, when they're not. They're judging off of fleshly things, asking, where's your father from? They add unto him the plague. God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in his book. And if any man shall take away, diminish from the words of the book of this prophecy, our guide shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city. So they take away the renewing of the spirit. They say, just come as you are. They diminished away from learning, studying to show thyself approved. But they tell you just to trust in men. And from the things which are written in this book. One second. So let's see, in Isaiah 34:16, verse 16 and 17. This is a commandment. Seek ye out of the book of the Spirit of God and read. No one of these shall fail, these books that's contained in the volume of the book. None shall want her mate. So we can't add, for my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. And he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. So just like this book is preserved for us, for our learning, we can be preserved by instilling and consuming the words of the book within us, so that we won't be empty. We can understand and learn how to do the works of Jehovah, how to have that faith and be guided by the Spirit and not our own personal interpretations. Psalms 147, 6, 10 through 15, and 19 through 20. Psalms 147. And we must always take heed to what we do. We cannot use our own understanding for anything pertaining to this life and this walk in the spirit of righteousness. Verse 6. The Spirit of God lifted up the meek. He cast the wicked down to the ground. Verse 10 through 15. He delighteth not in the strength of the horse. He taketh not pleasure in the legs of a man. So you think your own strength is what is going to save you? You think you doing your own works, what you think is the works of the Father, is going to save you? No, you are working in a carnal mind state. Private interpretations is what you're doing. But we must always meditate and keep our hearts and minds on the Spirit of God. Let Him be our guide and our light in this world of darkness. Because with private interpretations, we're always going to be in that dark. We're always going to be foolish. Because our understanding is not of His. We have to learn of Him. We have to conform to His image. Verse 11. The Spirit of God taketh pleasure in them that fear Him, that desire Him, and those that hope in His mercy. You got to kill yourself. All your desires should be towards the Most High, His Spirit. Learning more and more of Him every day so you can get more bolder in His faith. You'll have that faith of a mustard seed that'll grow into that pleasant tree, that tree that He's looking for in the end, with fruits to be gathered. Verse 12. Praise the Spirit of God, O Jerusalem. Praise thy God, O Zion. For He hath strengthened the bars of thy gates. He hath blessed thy children, thy works within thee. He maketh peace in thy borders, and filleth thee with the finest of the wheat. He sendeth forth His commandment upon earth. His word runneth very swiftly. 19 through 20. He showeth His word unto Jacob, His statutes and His judgment unto Israel. Verse 17 of Isaiah 34. And He hath cast a lot for them, and His hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. So we have no excuses. He showeth His word, and He hath cast a lot for them. He has done all this work for us. He's prepared us, his word, to manifest in us. But are we going to take heed to it? Or are we going to take heed to personal interpretations that's going to lead us off astray from this one book that shall never fail us? So if it'll never fail us, why don't we take heed to it? Because all the day long we have been failing. We've been losing. We're in the bottom of the totem pole because of personal interpretations. We have been prideful in those personal interpretations, thinking we the best thing since popcorn, thinking we the best thing since lemon with lime. You know, it's a shame how we, in our own minds, build up these mental blocks and stumbling blocks when the truth is right in front of us. Will we take heed, or will we still go in that opposite direction, following after vain and personal interpretations? And let's go to 20. He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, teachings, and doctrines, they have not known them. Praise ye the Spirit of God. So we can't learn from any other nation. We got to sit down and study to show ourselves approved. Find us a one that is rooted and grounded and humble, a humble servant, one of those pastors that he has given in his heart, and learn from him. Gather from off his fruits, off his works, and feed and eat, learn, and dwell therein. And we teach from generation to generation so that we can possess it forever. Sorry about that. So let's go to 2 Peter's. chapter 1, verse 13 and 15 through 19. Yea, I think it meet, as long as I am in this tabernacle, in this body, to stir you up by putting you in remembrance. 15 through 19. Moreover, I will endeavor that ye may be able, after my decease, to have these things always in remembrance. For we have not followed cunningly devised fables, when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Creator, salvation, the Anointed One, but were eyewitnesses of His majesty. For He received from Yahweh the Father honor and glory, when there came such a voice to Him from the excellent glory, This is my beloved servant, in whom I am well pleased. Not talking about the flesh, but that spirit, salvation, the Anointed One. And this voice which came from heaven we heard when we were with Him in the holy mount. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. Private interpretations, as stated right here in 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy. So this prophecy is not of our own words. Whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light. Because we know nothing in the flesh is of light, because it's of the dust. This world, and the dust is of this world, of this earth, and we know the earth was void in darkness. As unto a light that shineth in a dark place. So that's our guide while we're in this earth, on this earth, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. Knowing this, this is verse 19. I'm sorry. And then let's go to first John chapter 1 verse 1 through 13. This is a sure prophecy that we must take heed to. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with our God, Yahweh, and the Word was Jehovah, our God. The same was in the beginning with Yahweh. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. No private interpretations, but just Him, wisdom. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place. In Him was life, that word, because He was a prophet. And this prophecy was of the Word. And the life was the light of men. That Word, the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not, because they use personal interpretations, instead private interpretations, instead of getting the wisdom through the precepts. Verse 6. There was a man, a vessel, a messenger sent from Yahweh, whose name was John, the condemner. John, he who is gracious, he who has been gracious. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, because that flesh is never light, like we said before, but was sent to bear witness of that light. He was a vessel, a light bearer. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him. Speaking of wisdom, salvation still, that spirit of that word. And the world knew him not, because they use private interpretations instead of getting the prophecy of that sure word. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the servants of Jehovah, even to them that believe on his way. And his way is not of personal interpretations, private interpretations, but of him who he has sent, who sent him. Let's go. Deuteronomy 18 and 18. I just want to hit it real fast, because this is that word. The Spirit of God thy God, 18:15. The Spirit of God thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. 18:18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth. That prophecy of that sure word. And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever would not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my way, I will require it of him. He came into his own, and his own received him not. So they gonna be required in the end to bear fruits, to be that light bearer, but they're deceiving themselves and not receiving that word, that sure word of prophecy that will preserve us. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the servants of Jehovah, even to them that believe on his way, which were born not of blood, not of the life of man, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of Yahweh. Colossians chapter 1. Colossians chapter 1. 1, 5 through 6, 9, 11 through 13, 16 through 17, 19, 21, 23, and 28 through 29. Let's go. Let's run through this. Let's go visit Paul in Colossians. Paul, an apostle of salvation, the anointed way, by the will of God, and Timothy is our brother. So this goes right back to John chapter 1, verse 12. But as many as received him, Paul received him. To them gave he power to become the servants of Jehovah, an apostle of salvation, the anointed way, by the will of God, even to them that believe on his way. The will, the way of salvation, nor of the will of man. So he put away himself, any private interpretations that he had, but of God, the will of God, by the will of God, to the saints and faithful brethren in, let's skip down to 5, I'm sorry. For the hope which is laid up for you in heaven, whereof ye heard before in the word of the truth of the message, which is come unto you as it is in all the world, and bringeth forth fruit as it doth also in you, since the day you heard of it, and knew the grace of God in truth. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, them gave he power. These are them works. 5, for the hope which is laid up for you in heaven, wherever you heard, for in the word of the truth of the gospel, the message which is come unto you, as it is in all the world, and bringeth forth fruit, as it doth also in you. I hope we seeing what I'm trying to demonstrate. It's not of the will of man, of private interpretations. He received him, that word, and gave he power, those works, bringing forth fruit, as it doth also in you, if you believe, if you received him. As you also learned, let's see, 5 and 6, let's go to 9. For this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray, to confess for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will, not of our own will, not of our own knowledge, in all wisdom and spiritual understanding. Spiritual understanding is not personal interpretation. We study to get spiritual understanding. We meditate to get that knowledge of his will in all wisdom. (11 through 13). Strengthen with all might according to his glorious power. We just seen that. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the servants of Jehovah, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness. These are the works, these are gifts that he's given to us that received him, giving thanks unto the Father, which have made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light, not in darkness, who hath delivered us from the power of darkness, and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear servant. 16 through 17. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. 17. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. So we cannot put this on a man. We got to understand this is the spirit of wisdom. The same was in the beginning with God. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. 19. For it pleased the Father that in him should all fullness dwell. 21. And you that were sometimes alienated and enemies in your mind because of those what? Personal private interpretations. In your mind by wicked works, carnal works. Your carnal mind is enmity. Yet now hath he reconciled. 23. If you continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel of that message, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Paul, am made a minister. 28 through 29. Whom we preach, warning every man, and teaching every man in all wisdom, not man's wisdom, but of wisdom from above, from our Creator, salvation, the anointed way, that we may present every man perfect in the anointed way of salvation. Whereunto I also labor, striving according to his working, which worketh in me mightily. Verse 9, John chapter 1, verse 9. That was the true light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. Let's go to John 14. In verse 12. Verily, verily, I say unto you, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also. The works of faith, through the Spirit of truth. Studying to show ourselves approved, a workman, rightly dividing the word. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. Isaiah 28, 9 through 14. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people, to whom he said, This is the rest, wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest. And this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear, because they love private interpretations instead of being weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. This is the only way we should be studying and getting diligent understanding, precept upon precept. No other way. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. And that's why we will never understand it with our tongue, because he speaks in another tongue, which we should learn. We custom ourselves to his tongue, his way, his truth, life, and understanding of that light, to whom he said, This is the rest. So our flesh is going to be laid to rest, and we're going to be revived in that spirit of that word, that sure word of prophecy. And this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear. But the word of the Spirit of God was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. Those that would not hear, but instead lean to their own vain opinions. Wherefore hear the word of the Spirit of God, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because you can't hide. This message is for you. It's to clean us. We are clean through this word. So we can get a renewed mind, and we can serve in spirit and in truth. Jeremiah chapter 3. Chapter 3, verse 14 and 15. Turn, O backsliding children, says the Spirit of God, for I am married unto you. He has a covenant with us, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion, and I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you, teach you with knowledge and understanding. They're not going to teach us personal interpretations. Because they're going to be guided by the precepts and the commandments of Jehovah. Guided by the light of men. So let's go to Baruch. Chapter 3. 20 through 29. 20 through 29 and 31 through 33. Young men have seen light and dwelt upon the earth, but the way of knowledge have they not known, nor understood the paths thereof, nor laid hold of it. Their children were far off from that way. It hath not been heard in Canaan, neither have it been seen in Teman. The Agarenes that seek wisdom upon earth, the merchants of Meron and of Teman, the authors of fables, and searchers out of understanding, none of these have known the way of wisdom, or remember her paths. 24. O Israel, how great is the house of Jehovah, and how large is the place of his possession. Great and high, none in, high and unmeasurable. There were the giants famous from the beginning, that were of so great stature and so expert in war. Those did not the Creator choose, neither gave he the way of knowledge unto them. But they were destroyed because they had no wisdom, and perished through their own foolishness. So will you think yourself as a giant, having everything in this world, thinking pridefully, being a tyrant? Using private interpretations instead of the word of Jehovah because you think you better, you think you know it all, you will be destroyed because they had no wisdom. You was empty, lacking, and perished through their own foolishness. You had no water. That's why you perished like grass. You had no substance. You had no root. That seed did not land on good ground. Who hath gone up into heaven and taken her and brought her down from the clouds? These camps would say that spaceships did. They say they up in heaven and they got the spirit within them and brought her down from the clouds to rescue them like Independence Day. But this is not a fable. We don't lean to personal interpretations, private interpretations, but we use precepts to get understanding so that we won't be blind and running right into the way of destruction. Who have gone over the sea and found her and will bring her for pure gold? No man knoweth her way, because a man is carnal. He gonna use his own understanding, which is blind, drunkenness. He stumble at all his ways, unstable. No man knoweth her way, and that's why. Nor thinketh of her path, because they thinking upon their own riches. But what is more richer than wisdom, which we should be meditating and pondering on? The riches of heaven and not the riches of this world. Verse 32. But he that knoweth all things knoweth her, and have found her out with his understanding. He that prepareth the earth for evermore hath filled it with the four-footed beast. He that sendeth forth light, and it goeth, calleth it again, and it obeyeth him with desire. So will you receive that light so you can be instructed and he can call you by way and because his sheep hear his voice, and it obeyeth him. So will you be meek enough to leave off from your private interpretation, personal interpretations, and be guided by the Spirit of truth? Jeremiah chapter 50. 33 through 40. Thus saith the Spirit of God of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So that those personal interpretations in that carnal mind is a stronghold that's going to keep you in that bondage and oppressed from the word of truth. They're going to keep deceiving you so that you can never come close to understanding the truth, because they don't have the truth. They lean unto their own understanding, personal interpretations, private interpretations of these many books that lead to vanity and destruction. Their Redeemer is strong. The Spirit of God of hosts is his way. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land. But we get that rest through that word, through the precepts, through that one book, and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. Verse 35, a sword is upon the Chaldeans, said the Spirit of God, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots. The chariots again. The camps cause flying saucers. A sword is upon their horses, their doctrines of vanity, of vain opinions, and personal interpretation, private interpretations, and upon their chariots, which in their private interpretations they call spaceships, or these UFOs, space junk, and upon all the mingled people, because they receive everyone that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Oh yes, they are. They love that false Star of David, which is the Star of Moloch. They love that menorah sign with the candlesticks, which is all spiritual things that we should not be making idols of, but we should be keeping these things in our hearts. Therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. So these are the ones that didn't dwell, because let's go back. They didn't take heed to the word. This is what they didn't do. Seek ye out of the book of the Spirit of God, and read. No one of these shall fail. This is all failing. All mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. Fail. A drought is upon her waters. A fail. And they shall be dried up. Fail. For it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. 3 strikes you out. Fail. Therefore, for that reason, here comes a visitation. The wild beasts of the deserts with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein. So you not gonna be there, and it shall be no more inhabited forever. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. But this is what we should be. And he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. Why don't we keep this instead of wanting to keep these things that are going to fail us? They're not going to profit us. Flesh and blood does not inherit the kingdom of Jehovah. So they don't dwell in from generation to generation. But those that take heed, that seek out of the book and read, and they have the faith that none shall fail. They don't want any other mate, but they use precepts, which is commanded, and his spirit hath gathered them to dwell, to possess it from generation to generation, and they shall dwell therein. We're not going to fail. All right, let's go to 1 John. And I think I'm going to cut this short and come back. 4:1-6. Beloved, promised ones, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of Jehovah. Because many false prophets are going out into the world. Hereby know ye the spirit of Jehovah. Every spirit that confesseth, that prayed that salvation, the anointed one, is come in the flesh, is of the God, the Spirit, the anointed one, Jehovah, of that word. Because we know that word is dwelling in the flesh. It's come to dwell in us. So if we confess, we understand, we have that hope and that faith that Christ has come to save us. It's of the Spirit. That word has come to renew us, to revive us. And every spirit that confesseth not that salvation, the anointed one, is come in the flesh, they believe that flesh is God, is that word, is not of that word, is not of Jehovah. because the word is not dwelling in them. They're using private interpretations. And this is that spirit of Antichrist, that private interpretation, because it's going to have you to blaspheme the word, that sure word of prophecy, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. Ye are of Jehovah, our salvation, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world heareth them. They gonna hear these private interpretations. And they gonna be stuck on them. They gonna be bonded to it. That's gonna be their captivity. And they gonna love it. They made a covenant with death. Therefore speak they of the world, that destruction, that darkness, that void of understanding. We are of that light, that word of salvation. He that knoweth Jehovah heareth us. He that is not of Jehovah heareth not us. Or he that is not of the word heareth not us. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. John chapter 10. (25 through 29). Salvation answered them, I told you, and ye believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name way, they bear witness of me. But ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. See, we would never fail. This faith is great. The hope of salvation to come. My Father, my Creator, which gave them me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. Let's hit Psalms 119. And let's start at 4 through 5. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. So that those ways are going to direct us out of darkness into that light. Verse 10. With my whole heart have I sought thee. O let me not wander from thy commandments. 15. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. 23 through 24. Princes also did sit and speak against me, but thy servant did meditate in thy statutes. Thy testimonies also are my delight and my counselors. 27 and 29. Make me to understand the way of thy precepts, so shall I talk of thy wondrous works. Remove from me the way of lying, and grant me thy law graciously. 33 through 34. Teach me, O Spirit of God, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. 37 and 40. Turn away mine eyes, mine understandings, from beholding, from remembering vanity, and quicken thou me in thy way. 40. Behold, remember, I have longed after thy precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness. So shall I have wherewith to answer him, because we can't answer him with our own personal interpretations. It's vanity that reproacheth me, for I trust in thy word. We never lean to our own understanding. We always use the words of salvation, because his words are true, and their strength, and their light. For 50. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word hath quickened me. 51. The proud have made me greatly the proud have had me greatly in derision, yet have I not declined from thy law. And these are the tests that faith is going to get you to pass through. You're not going to fail. As it said, through the precepts we will never fail, because it won't lead us to any false way. "53. Horror hath taken hold upon me because of the wicked that forsake thy law. Thy statutes have been my songs in the house of my pilgrimage." So we must depart from our own ways, depart from iniquity. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will keep thy precepts with my whole heart. 78. Let the proud be ashamed, for they dealt perversely with me without a cause, but I will meditate in thy precepts. 86 through 87. All thy commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongfully. Help thou me. They had almost consumed me upon earth, but I forsook not thy precepts. 104 through 106. Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. I have sworn, and I will perform it, that I will keep thy righteous teachings and doctrines. Full submission. We must submit to thy word, so that it can guide us through this land of destruction, this land of filth, this land of abomination, this land of confusion. And this is the end of part 1 of private interpretations. We must not use any private interpretations, but we must use precepts only to be guided through this book, so we can obtain the wisdom needed to live in the spirit and through faith and truth, in the hope to come of salvation. And I hope you were richly edified. And if you have any questions, you can contact me. And we will see you next week. And straight out of Compton, Deacon DeForest Smith. Shalom.